going forward to brief the people well.
You need somebody to brief you about your name?
Chair, we are talking on behalf of the people.
I will not speak on behalf of people who do not give their correct names.
Chair, they give their when they are gathering information, they ask them so many questions. There are those names they use. They always give those names, and by which they are known by. Then there are these other past names and other.
No.
When NIRA is gathering information, they don't get this for now. They are burdened now with the challenge of a costly change of names.
I am now guiding that you no longer be heard on this matter.
Chair, you are betraying the people. The people, NIRA must devise means of improving on this communication.
The people have betrayed themselves by submitting wrong names. Nobody will guide you that this is not your name. The only thing I have heard, and which I believe is where somebody tells you, and she has answered it, where somebody tells you those names are too many.
Why is there an expiry date? The first expiry date is set in law in section 69 of our Act, but also it is further, anchored by science. A card is a plastic material with embedded security features, who by reason of time, the features deteriorate. Notwithstanding, I will join that question with a rationale. The mass enrollment and renew exercise seeks to register more new Ugandans than renew cards. We have 17.2 million new Ugandans to register.
They are not new Ugandans.
Okay, new registrations to carry out.
17.2
million compared to the 15.8 million renewals. On the question of voters, and I think the voting entity is the Electoral Commission. They've systematically come, I think 20th January, they began the process of updating the register, the searching of the register, and at no time did they hinge that to a national ID. They looked for eligible voters, they gave them criteria, and there was nobody who was disenfranchised.
Yes.
Because
was there any consultations between NIRA and the EC?
Correct. There are always consultations between NIRA and EC.
To what effect? And what is your contribution to the generation of the register?
The law defines a person who can vote as being a citizen above the age of 18. The register in NIRA is used to verify, one, who is a citizen, and two, who is above the age of 18. So on a continuous basis, we interact on who is a citizen, who is above the age of 18, and who may have changed their names.
When we were enacting the Registration of Persons Act, I remember there was a huge debate on the role of your register, which is the national register.
Yes,
and one of the things that was that actually the Electoral Commission, like many other agencies, would use your register as the raw material.
It does use it as a raw material. However, there are aspects of that register that are required to be obtained in real time by the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
So we are the starting point.
Yes.
They obtain the register of citizens above the age of 18. And what they told us about the residents and their polling stations. However, they are required by law to update this information continuously to the benefit of citizens.
Actually, not to update that information. They only update their register.
Yes.
That upon getting the raw material from you, they constitute it into a register. Then the updating begins from there.
They update the particulars, particulars that change about a person. For For example, they may have shifted and they need to update
All
some.
right.
With regard to distribution, we have shipped out cards and the distribution has started. With regard to
No, the distribution, that's a bullet statement. The members need to know.
okay, we have shipped out cards to 146 districts,
Okay.
the ones that we have so far printed. Of course, Kampala has higher numbers than any other district, but every district has received a certain number of cards for distribution.
Honorable Muwadda Nkunyingi, since you did the renewal from Kasangati,
From Kasangati Town Council, headquarters.
you will pick yours from Kasangati.
I was there was no ID. I don't know if the ID is updated. That they are not there. Where are they?
Okay. Madam Chisembo, why has the member not received his?
Tomorrow, I will provide to this committee the information from couriers who we have used to distribute these cards countrywide for avoidance of doubt.
Chair, wouldn't it be fitting that the executive director also talks about decentralization of inquiries? Just why do I move from Kasese to Kololo to Ingwaya? What is her strategy?
Sir, we are present to date. We have been present in at least 7,239 parishes in the last 12 weeks. It is not correct to say that people come for inquiries to Kololo. Even the buses in this country, we've registered 8 million people. We have not recorded 8 million people in Kampala for renewal.
I answered about inquiries.
So it is not correct to say that all people come to Kampala for renewal.
No, for inquiries.
Chair, maybe we should not simplify our concern with the word inquiries. My colleague had said people move from Ulambuli to come to Kololo. It is equivalent to coming from Songora South to Kololo.
And I would like an example.
Madam, we are saying, if I need to collect or anything, I have fulfilled everything. Why can't I get my card from my district?
Sir, you will get it in your district. I said tomorrow I will bring Nation Courier and DHL that have taken cards to the districts.
Yes,
So the cards have been taken to the districts. They are not going to be picked from Kololo.
Chair, the situation is even more worrying because so far out of the 43 million Ugandans, maybe say 20, only 6 have received their national IDs. What if the rest are not interested in this renewal? And it's very a serious matter. It has constitutional implications. You don't just own an ID for your...
For those that are not interested,
No, but Chair,
what do you want them to
a
do?
national ID is not an issue of interest. It's not. When you look
Honorable
at
Swami, that's a good question. That's a good issue you're raising.
That's what I'm... Yes, sorry.
But the question is, did you make it compulsory under the law? And what are the sanctions for not obtaining or for being disinterested?
Maybe that's why you want to get from this...
For her, she deals with people who go to her and apply.
But Chair, this...
She rolls out a program, communicates it to the people. And that's what the law requires her to do. I think there are two
there was a
things.
very big oversight.
Both of
which
us,
we
both have a role to play.
Yes.
We as parliament
Exactly.
and we as citizens.
No, citizens, Chair, we are always there. First of all, for them, they do appreciate they have to be identified. But it's not an issue. Tobalabala, you don't have to count my kids, etc. That feeling. Now that we know it's a vital tool we need for development, and we did not envisaged that when we were making the law. We want to get something from the technical officers, which we can send in our report, because only 6 million maybe are
Actually,
interested.
the blame that would go to
It's-
these people, even during the enrollment exercise that I've seen, is one, inadequate materials. Two, if we are talking about inadequate training for people who use these machines and the time provided. But I understand that registration across the country is a continuing business. At the sub-counties, they cannot make it continuous at the parish level. Because unless we are ready to give them that money, if you have the money, I am concerned about those who travel from Bulambuli or Ssegona to come to Kampala. But from what she says, I think it is also a question of how our people appreciate these things. No, there are those who go there and maybe at the parish or sub-county, the officers there are clueless. They give you all manner of excuses. I remember sending some people to go and obtain a death certificate. When they arrived at a particular station, they told them, bring an original national ID of the deceased. I mean, there could be some of those isolated cases. And I called her, I said, so why don't you instead, you're the one who issued the national ID, so you have all the particulars. Why don't you call the deceased? I said it comically and told her, why don't you call the deceased to tell you where he left the national ID? But for somebody who has come with a short death certificate from hospital, you tell me bring the original national ID of the deceased. Now, those are isolated cases. That's why I did not bring them here. So, Ugandans, when called upon to go and register it, that's number one. Number two, from your end, make sure your machines are there, make sure the people are trained, make sure the people know. And at every station, there must be somebody who takes a decision or supervises others. I think that's where the only way I would allow a fault on them. But that some Ugandans are not interested. Bulambuli.
Elogonos, Chair.
Well,
Thank you,
is the
Chair.
difference?
Chair, I wanted to ask the accounting officer. I have a case here whereby this person applied for the national ID on 23rd April from Bulambuli, 23rd April 2025. The student was admitted on government sponsorship, and one of the requirements was to provide a national ID because it's 21 years. He had applied at school, did not get. For this case, he applied now from Bulambuli and he was enrolled. They sent him to Kololo so that he would be helped to process it faster. The application ID was given to him. I can read it for you. Since this committee is evidence-based, I don't want you to... The application ID is 124 435 000 8F04. And the names of Nangoli Apollo. Nangoli Apollo. Chair, when you go to Bulambuli, Nangoli is the common name because these are successful people in the community, so it's very common.
Please allow me to pick the last
to
digits.
date, the last
000
000 8F04. That is the application ID. To date, we are now in August. The boy has not what? He reported to Makerere actually last week. And they insisted they want the original ID because it's on government sponsorship. Could you give more light on that?
I'll ask my team to send for details of that application ID. We shall resort to it as soon as I get information on it. change of name. To record the names by which a person is known by, whether they are 10 or they are 5 or they are 2. It is part of the identity of the person. So we encourage people to tell us their names. Otherwise, they will pass off in society as one person and commit crimes under another name.
Okay. This thing of change of name where people have to go and swear did Paul etc. Is there a way you can simplify it? For example, and now I'm asking you as our technical person. For example, other than going through commissioner, then go and gazette, etc. Isn't there a way you can simplify it by providing forms which would be available at sub-county level?
And Chair,
Yes.
I raised the question of change of names. I've received the complaints from mostly the pensioners, these older people. When they went to register, you know, these pensioners, they had the names they were using on their official records. Now, when they went to register, unknown to them, that when you give so many names, you are altering your identity. And they were tricked by NIRA officials. Now, they are burdened to look for money to now file for change of names to return to their
How were
original
they
names.
tricked?
The same thing she was mentioning, that the names were known by. For example, Ssegona Akari Amagwa, you will find yourself with Akari Amagwa when it was just a popular name somewhere.
Unless your name is a trick.
Now,
But we just recorded all names.
I think those people who are
But Honorable Muwadda,
the people who are recording.
wait, the registering person, the official registering,
Yes.
how would he even know
when these people give their
the
names?
name that you're passing around with?
No, when these people.
Let's not shield our voters into making mistakes.
I'm making a case for these older persons because they are majority are victims.
But if, no, even if that old person is old,
Someone is called Isalongo in a village
unless
and he finds a need registering Isalongo.
that's okay. You have a Salongo here. Here.
we
We have a Salongo Willy Kunya, whose title Salongo is in the passport. That is what he goes by. You remember in your first or second year, the case of Namwandu against Attorney General versus Attorney General.
Now,
Somebody decides to go by the name Namwandu. Okay? So if someone has submitted the name as such, what do you want NIRA to do?
Chair, according to the respondents, they were not well briefed. That we have to use, and we are seeking NIRA going forward to brief the people well.
You
So-
need somebody to brief you about your name?
Chair, we are talking on behalf of the people.
I will not speak on behalf of people who do not give their correct names.
Chair, they give their, when they are gathering information, they ask them so many questions. There are those names they use, they always give those names, and by which they are known by. Then there are these other past names and other.
No.
When NIRA is gathering information, they don't get this for now. They are burdened now with the challenge of a costly change of names. That's
I
the
am
process.
now guiding that you no longer be heard on this matter.
Chair, you are betraying the people. The people, NIRA must devise means of improving on this
The
communication.
people have betrayed themselves by submitting wrong names. Nobody will guide you that this is not your name. The only thing I have heard, and which I believe is where somebody tells you, and she has answered it, where somebody tells you those names are too many. If that was the complaint and that these people stopped you from submitting some of your names, I would understand. But somebody chooses to go by some popular name and he does not register it, or he registers it, then along the way he wants to change his name. I mean, you meet the cost. I was dealing with the question of where somebody is called Henry. Then on one land title it is Henry, on the other one it is Enrico. do you blame land office? I think let's deal with the more serious matters of oversight onto the entity. Honorable Bakabulindi.
Thanks very much, Chair. I'm sorry I've come late, but there's something burning that I wanted to be clarified.
Why didn't it burn you to come inside?
Also, I was attending equally other issues. Chair, my relative, I was helping. They had registered them from the school. There was an error in the name. I have no problem with that. We went to NIDA, put the correct names, paid the 200. It is now 4 months. Whenever we check that the name is hanging. What do you mean by that term? I have all the details, the pictures here. 4 months down the road, the boy has never got his nanny card. And the answer is, some names are still hanging in the system. What does it mean? Nanny? That is not your confusion. I want to get an answer from NIDA. 4 months. Can I know what is causing that?
In March 2025, the existing cards that we had at the time before we started the mass enrollment exercise, they ran out. So until we started the new exercise, there are people who were caught in the middle. They were caught before, they registered before the exercise started and before we got a new set of cards. We received all our first set of 8.1 million cards at the end of June. And until this financial year, that's when we received money for the additional cards. So it's a case of we ran out of cards, we've applied for new cards, the cards have all come, and we are beginning to distribute them. Thank you.
Chair, I've listened to the excuse, which sounds nice. Madam, can I check on you within a month from now that you got the money?
Yes, sir, you can. And in not a month, he can come. I don't know his nearest district. We shall get, they have given us some, like this 134-435-0008F04. We shall consult them and ask them to come to their nearest office. And for some, they may need to do a biometric update to get their iris because the old card didn't have an iris. This one has, and their card will be processed. Thank you.
Okay, we need to close this.
Chair, there was a question I asked on charging people.
Yeah, she's going to answer that. Honorable Itungo.
My question, Chair, is not answered.
Which one?
I was concerned about whether there are new features on the renewed IDs. What are you renewing? Are you only renewing the expiry date or the other features you have renewed on the new card?
I have asked for devices to come to demonstrate the new features, if you will allow me.
But there could also be new features which are obvious. For example, if Honorable Itungo looked different 10 years ago, when you come for renewal, naturally,
So if you look at that card, the security features are highlighted. Those were not the number of security features we had.
What is the difference? If you could highlight.
If someone could bring us their old card, I would have the demonstrable difference.
You have your old card. Wait. Let's start with this.
After primary, Tungo said it has changed.
If you notice in that card, only the side is lit.
Yes.
Only the side has engraved security features.
Yes.
But this card, if you notice, the whole card is shining, if I may use that language. Okay. You see? There is micro print, there is text speech.
I'm seeing on your behalf.
Let him walk around.
Okay, you can walk around
in the middle.
No, Chair, I remember I asked a question.
Yes.
as to whether there were some forgeries
Some people want to see
on
the
the old
difference.
card that perhaps could have been the justification to go for this renewal.
The key forgery was people were overwriting the picture. And Chris, you can show him the ghost image. No, you'll have to release it officially.
You have not received your card. No, I think, Honorable Muzali, the question you're asking, there used to be, before integration,
There were people were, if you allow me to show you,
yes.
Chris, if you would come back out.
No, he's still showing Honorable Muwadda Nkwenyingi. But Honorable Bakabulindi, you need to see with your eyes, not your finger.
Chairman, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, is it the difference is only on shining, or there are also other features?
She will answer that. You know,
I think it is, I use the word shining for ease of explanation, but it is because if you go and buy a card from Nasa Road, I vow to you that it will not show you that shine or that lighting under purple light. That is the same that they look for in money. When you go and they are trying to validate, those are security strings inserted to ensure that the card is
how much
secure.
is that? How much is that torch?
This torch is, I think, is 5,000 or 3,000 shillings. I don't know.
Oh, it's the ordinary one
Yes.
Itungo has for his calves.
It is not a.
Okay, let's go.
Maybe if I return to what, if you notice that they put something under the face here called NID. Previously, it was not there. People would just go to Nasa Road and overwrite this picture with someone else's picture and keep the rest of the detail. Now we've embedded a ghost image here and even in the map to address that. We've also embedded features that return a person to our side to verify with consent what we actually have on our side. And it's a small barcode that has a link to get details right. It's an online verification, if you may so say. We have also added what is called tactile, or for those who are living with disability, to be able to identify on which part of the card their name and card number is. We had put it on the name, but it had an interaction with a hologram that was not favorable. We've added an additional hologram. So we have a total of about 9 new security features. Thank you.
Question on the people charged.
Which she didn't answer. As to whether the budget she asked for is basically to cover the entire exercise of renewal, or every year we shall.
That one and the one of charging people under Muwadda raised.
The budget we asked for was for 17.2 million new registrations to address anybody in the country who has never been registered, and 15.8 million renewals, but it will cover all cards up to 24 million and all new registrations. So we are hoping that with your support, not necessarily financial, but in mobilization support, people will come out and those who've never registered, register. Those who need to renew, renew. That being said, I want to commend the people of Uganda. It is not usual that in a space that every week we have close to 1 million or 1.5 million people coming to seek our services. We highly commend the effort that Ugandans have made in getting their names in the National Identification Register. Thank you. On the 10,000 shillings, we have severally said in all languages. We actually acquired a person who speaks very many languages to tell people that you don't have to pay. In all local languages, widely spoken.
Now, when they don't pay, they are not served.
For,
Okay?
for
Now
that
this is
set of people,
This is where the challenge is. They say, if you don't pay the 10,000,
Yes.
Chair, this is
I
important
think it's
information.
an act of corruption.
Okay. Because the people say, if you don't pay 10,000, they
Honorable
don't allow
Muwadda.
you to line up, they don't serve you.
Honorable
Now, what
Muwadda.
should the people do?
In your constituency, as we speak now, there are some people who tell your constituents who want to see you that you give me 20,000 to see,
Chair,
wait, to see the MP. In my case, I have received and exposed several. Now, that's an act of corruption. You do not expect the executive director of NIRA, seated at her offices in Kololo, to know those vices. Unfortunately, we have heard all those stories, all of us, I think, as MPs. But unfortunately, they cannot come forward to tell. Even when we gave him Kwirinjira, a trained spy,
But Chair,
he cannot deliver on that.
Chair, it is her exercise. It is NIRA doing this exercise of mass registration. The people are complaining that without 10,000, you can't line up.
Honorable-
If you line up, they don't
Honorable
serve you.
Kunyinji
They send them
Muwadda.
away for days and days.
Yeah.
What is she going to do in behalf of NIRA?
Just
So that people are served.
bring her a few.
exactly.
There are very many.
We have-
Where should I
bring
bring
the
them?
many?
Chair, if you will allow me to answer,
Yes.